Hello and welcome to a very special segment of the Store TV from a very busy and hectic Mumbai, India. Well, there hardly seems to be an element of business where technology now isn't an integral ingredient and even a differentiator in terms of success or failure.
Completely so, and I would tend to agree. And over let's say the last 5 years or so, it's been more and more. And over the next 5, I think technology will become way more pervasive than it has been. So loyalty management is one area where technology very inherently plays a part. For most of the companies, they are starting to move now from the very basics of how do I get my supply chain right, because in India that always remains a problem, to how do I now start to get more value in. There are other companies which are non-retail companies which are starting to come into the retail space with the help of technology, because there are things inside of technology, elements of technology are starting to come together. So as I was mentioning to earlier, Airtel happens to be the largest seller of music. Not really a retail company, a telecom company coming in there, so that technology is starting to bridge that gap and starting to flatten it out. So as also listening to conversations yesterday, TV18 is starting to become one of the largest e-tailers, if you will, in the country. And for the longest time, everybody kept thinking e-tail is never going to work in India. It sure is. eBay is a large player as well now. So absolutely.
And how are retailers in India embracing technology as an agent of change?
So I think at different levels. So there are lots of companies who are starting at the basics, starting to go and let's get my SAP IS retail or Oracle retail or whatever other ERP in place. Most of these people started smaller, relatively speaking, with homegrown systems, homegrown POSs. All that is starting to come together. There's a brand of retailers who have gone through that distance, who are starting to get into good amount of loyalty management now. So I would still say it's primitive in a way. That's a harsh word compared to the West, to Europe or to the US, but I think there's the amount of growth is a whole lot. It's still in fundamentals, still in the basics. But once this gap is bridged, then I believe that the movement will be very, very rapid. It'll be exponential.
We've seen in, I suppose, more developed markets the introduction of the loyalty scheme and one for all another being a big driver of growth and change. Are any Indian retailers experimenting with loyalty schemes?
I believe they are. So for example, I have an inner circle card of Landmark. So Landmark runs Max stores, which is apparel. They run Lifestyle, which is a departmental store. They run Spar, which is a hypermarket grocery store, and so on. And I think they have a franchise for Bossini as well. So their card runs across. And I believe that they were one of the first ones to do it across different formats, different kinds of chains. So yes, it's starting.
One of the inherent inefficiencies in the Indian supply chain is the amount of products that, certainly in the fresh area, that literally disintegrate and die from being picked to arriving at the store, some 40, 50, 60% depending on some of the numbers that you see. Do you see technology having an impact in reducing that horrendous wastage and therefore, in a sense, making a significant contribution to both the economy and the lives of people in India?
I would say there are two different things. One is technology and the basic infrastructure, if you will. So if the roads were to be better, if the transport network were to be better, then obviously a large part of that perishment, if you will, would not happen. Large part of the shrinkage of 50-60%, that would not be happening. While I say that, then the second layer on top of that is, can I run a cold chain? That happens only if everything works all right. If my last mile cold chain or refrigeration works okay, if my power situation isn't okay, that works right. So from the time that fresh produce, whatever type, whether it's milk or whether it's vegetables, get picked to all the way, it has to remain at that certain type of temperature. So very quick thought comes in, maybe RFID and use whether the temperature is maintained or not, for milk or for fresh produce. That would work very well. So I think it's not just a technology issue, it's a multi-level issue, and all of them need to be taken care of. So if we could take care of the basic infrastructure, basic power kind of situation, a large part of that 50-60% would get reduced.
Well, that in itself would be a significant win, both for the consumer and for the environment as well. Well, thank you very much indeed for spending the time and sharing those insightful thoughts with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.